Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. This video is round 4 of a 4-round tournament held at Dave's Time Warp in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. This is for the December Atlantic Old School Tournament. This tournament was 4 rounds, December 2023. This tournament was 4 rounds long, and I recorded all 4 of my games. Up to this point, I am 3-0, so in this game, this is the final game. I am also playing against my opponent who is also 3-0, so we are playing for first and second place. So before we get into the match video, I want to go over my deck pick. So this is an updated version of the deck I played last month as well, my Bantamgeddon deck. So 3 main differences from last month. First, I included 4 Mishra's Factories in this build, which allowed me to include also 2 Suchis. Last month I have 4 Juggernauts, and they were way too easy to Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning. So 2 of those slots I used on Suchis. I originally wanted to put all 4 slots on 4 Suchis, but I was still afraid of the mana burn issue. So I just chose to put 2 of those slots on 2 Suchis. The other 2 slots, I added Mox Jet and Mox Ruby, the black and red Moxes. I don't play those colors, so I usually don't include those 2 Moxes. But most Tier 1 old school decks include all 5 Moxes. So I wanted to do the same in this month's tournament. I also upped the land count. I believe I had 20 lands in the last month's tournament, and I noticed that I was missing land drops in the crucial first few turns of games. So to counterbalance this, I included 2 more lands in this month's tournament, so up to 22. Plus, of course, I had 2 more Moxes as well, right? So I hope that this helped with the mana base and just being able to ramp up and curve out in a better way. So now we are ready to start the first game. Here we're cutting decks. I don't think neither one of us mulligans here. So my opponent's life total die is a little off the screen, so I'm going to try to keep track myself. My life points are visible through my die in the center. So I play a Tundra, Mox, and I Time Walk. So I go into my turn 2. My opponent still has not played at all. So somebody was just saying bye to my opponent there. Sorry for the camera shake. So it seems like maybe I don't have a land drop. So I Ancestral, draw 3 cards. Or maybe I just didn't, I had a few options and I didn't know which one to drop, and it all depended on what I drew. So now I put a Plains and then play a Pixies. So this build does have a few basic lands in case of Blood Moon. My opponent plays a Cedar Brass, plays a Javelineer. So he's at 19. I attack, he's at 17. But he's most likely killing my Pixies next turn. So hopefully I can drop a land, and then I have some kind of a big creature. So I put a factory, and yep, I'm getting very good curve here. Plus with the Time Walk, that definitely helped. So this was my round 2, really round 3, because I had the Time Walk. That's why I can get a quote unquote turn 2 Urnum. So this is now my opponent's turn too. So I have him behind the 8 ball here. Plays a second City of Brass. So he says 17. Anytime he casts anything, he's gonna have to pay life. So he's killing my pixies with the Javelineer. He has 2 mana, but they cause him to lose life. 16 and 15. He's at 15. He had to use 2 cards to kill my Urnum. But my board is wiped other than the Mox and my lands. I do have a factory. I could come in and attack if I have nothing better to do. 5 mana must be a Sarah, I guess. Yep. So second turn Urnum, third turn Sarah. Very explosive beginning. And if you notice, I haven't missed the land drop. So upping the mana count has definitely been paying off dividends. So 13, and then 2 more from the side blast, 11. Should be at 11 now. Let's see. Yep, 11. He attacks for 1. Javelineer, take a damage. So he side blasted my Sarah Angel. That cost him 4 life though, but my Sarah is going to attack him for 4 anyway, right? So it's still a worthwhile investment. So here I had a Urnum, had a Sarah, so he's already killed quite a few of my big creatures. So I did get Time Walk, so that gave me an extra draw, and then the Ancestral gave me 3 extra draws. I play Plains here, so hopefully. Okay, so I don't see it in screen, but I must have regrowth because I got the Urnum from my graveyard. So I was saying, yeah, with the draws, I was hopeful to draw into another big creature, but seems like I didn't. But I drew into a regrowth, which got me another Urnum. So 2 more damage for my opponent. He's at 9 because of that City of Brass is killing him slowly to cast a Dib. So he could. Well, I was just about to say he could double block, but he cannot. That's still not going to solve his problem. So I'm giving Forest Walk to his Javelineer. He's tapped out, so I can attack with no issues. So 9, so he drops it down to 5. So I'm tapping at Plains there. I have 5 lands and a Mox, so probably don't want to drop any more stuff. Lands, I mean, in case I Armageddon. So I play Alliance and the Pixies because probably I want to attack and go wide and get in a little bit of extra attack in to kill my opponent. He took another damage from the Serendip. And then now he took another one, so he's at 3 to cast another Javelineer. But it has Summon Insignias, it cannot use its counter yet. So my little guys can attack next turn. He does have a Mishra's Factory, so he could activate it, block. The factory has been there previously, so he could then tap his own factory to give itself that +1/+1 pump and turn it into a 3/3 blocker. So I'm giving the Javelineer with the token Forest Walk because now he can either attack or use the counter, but not both. But that's during his turn. I'm still now in my turn. So I'm activating, I'm activating the factory, and then I'm attacking. So I don't know, maybe I missed that he had his factory, or maybe I just knew that he had to pay mana, which cost him life from the City of Brass, to activate it. But if he activates, that does give him 4 blockers. Okay, so he's taking the damage, drops to 2 so that he can activate his. And I don't respond, so I must not have something, because if I could have destroyed that factory before blocks, that would have been game. But I don't, so it must mean I don't have it available. So he blocks his factory mine, but he pumps his, so his will survive. Mines will die. My line will die. The Javelineer and the Pixies trade. His Javelineer with the token dies. So, but then he kept his Serendip alive. So I'm paying 5 here. Brain Geyser for 2, so it's a little out of frame, but yeah. I mean, Brain Geyser for 3. So after that, after this exchange, he thought, so now he's going to take 1. So he's at 1. He said he should have blocked the dip with the Urnum, so that way his dip would die, and then he didn't have to take more damage during his upkeep. So right now, I don't even have to attack, because he has a factory. So I cast more creatures just in case, but he was bluffing and he had no response. And then he just dies to his own Serendip Ifrit. So going into game 2. So it seems like neither one of us mulligan, so he plays a land and plays a Javelineer. Oh, so Cedar Brass again, but he also has a Mox Pearl, which allows him to have white. So I drop a Plains, it looks like, and then I pass. So I don't have a fast turn 1. He attacks, I'm at 9, excuse me, I'm at 19. Then he time walks, he has to pay a life. He's at 19 as well. He played another dual land. So this is to curve out better. So to make more land drops, he has another land. I tax, I'm at 18. But then he has no follow-up. But just having more lands is still useful. So I play a factory, and then I play a Chaos Orb. He disenchants my Chaos Orb. So I like to play the Chaos Orb. So I must have not had anything else. So and either way, like I still find that it's targeting the Chaos Orb, because I do have a Mishra's factory, so I don't mind that getting destroyed instead of my factory. He attacks again, so I take another one. I'm at 17. So far that Javelineer has done 3 points of damage. And it still has the token. Ooh. No land drop from me, and I only have white available. Another attack, I'm at 16. So it seems like it was a mistake for me to keep this hand, or I don't know if I had only one card, one land, and then I got another one. Hopeful to get more than that, I'm not sure. Like I said, I do have more lands and more moxes, so maybe that indicated to me that I could maybe just take a chance. He attacks again, I'm at 15, so that Javelineer has done 5 points of damage. Last turn I did cast the Soul Ring though, so. But with only one white, I could cast a Suchi. I need a second white for a Sarah. And I need green for Urnum or Pixies. So right now, with just one color, I'm very limited, and I do not dare to activate my Mishra's factory, because I'm pretty sure he's going to destroy it. And then I'm even more in the hole for lands. He has 5 lands and he has a factory. So he may attack to bait my factory, a response for me to activate and block, and then he can then kill it, right? So I have to cast something or do something soon, because but I do have white, so hopefully I have my own disenchant. Okay, so I'm sourcing his guy. So he's at 21 now. So I did it now. First of all, he did 5 points of damage, right? So, and I'm afraid to block with my own factory, so I might as well do it now while it's tapped, and then he can use the token. Yep, so there we go. So I have no white anymore, so I could only activate and block, but I'm probably not. Yep, so he pumps, I take, well, it seems like I'm going to take 3 damage. Yep, so I'm at 12. So this game, the issue very clear is that I'm mana screwed. Okay, I finally have a Tundra, so 5 mana, 2. So yep, I did have that. Sarah just needed that additional mana. So he's at 19 because he's going to Side Blast. And now he has 2 factors that he can attack with. I'm totally tapped out. Yep. He's activating both. Attacking for both. So I'm at 8, I believe. Yep. Cast a Savannah Lines. Mox Ruby. That's just colorless mana to me. So I'm at 8. So I may have to block because at least he's not going to be hitting me directly. I'd rather he kill my lightning bolts or chain lightnings my factory instead of me directly, which he might do anyway, depending on what he does. So I brought out a dip last turn. Looks like that's the best I could do. So I still have mana available to activate. So he's activating each individual factory. So I'm counting out the ways that I can activate, and I can still do some kind of additional reaction. So okay, so I'm activating. So I'm giving him the option. Okay, are you gonna do anything before I declare blockers? He is not. So I block his factory with mine, but mine taps itself to pump. So mine will survive, his will die. His other factory will die, and I'll take 2 from the line. But I think he just wants me to drop to 6. Because maybe he has 3 damage spells. So he's casting a chain lightning on me. I take it. So this is where there's a big blunder, I believe, in this one. So so he's saying that he passes, and then I'm healing Salve to gain a life. But then he's responding before that to Side Blast me for 4. If I had instead, so first he chain lightning me, I believe, right? Yes. If I had done it then either gain life or prevented that 3, he couldn't have followed up with the Side Blast on me now. So it just didn't occur to me. So this was a big mistake. I should have done the healing Salve before, and then this. Honestly, I was already pretty low, and I was mana screwed for a good chunk of the game. So so it would have bought me a little time. I don't. He plays red, so I don't know if that would have been made much of a difference. But that was definitely the wrong play from my side. So I got game 1. He has game 2. Let's go into game 3. So this is game 3. Okay, so I'm going first. Neither of us are doing a mulligan. Land 2 Moxes for turn 1 dip. So I had very solid first game, and then in terms of my mana base and ramp, horrible second game, which I lost. So now this third game is looking good. I have a turn 1 dip, 1 land, and 2 Moxes. So my opponent is still thinking about what to do. He still hasn't had his played yet on his turn 1. He must have a lot of options. Okay, he dropped a factor, I believe, and then a mox. I'm not sure. It's covering it up. Okay, Javelineer with a factory and a mox. That must be a mox pro. Okay, took a damage from the dib. I'm at 19. So I have 1 land, drop a plane. So I have 4 mana here and I have a green. So I could already be casting a turn 2 dib. So yep, factory and a pro. I don't have that Urnum, or else I would have cast it, or the Suchi. I would have cast that as well. Instead, I choose not to attack because he's going to hit me back for 3 with the factory. And then I'm taking, so I'm hitting for 3. He's hitting me for 3, but I'm also taking 1 every turn in addition due to the my own dip. So he's taking a damage. He's at 19 because he uses the City of Brass to Ancestral for 3 cards. So my mana base is great right now. So turn 2, I have 4 mana. So now I'm going into turn 3. So he passes. So I take a damage. I'm at 18. But I'm just not drawing threats, or at least not enough. So this dip is perfectly fine, but because of his factory, I'm afraid of attacking. So I think it's best to just defend, but I need to get that additional creature from my side to give me a defender while my dips can still come in for the attack. Okay, now this is not good because he has a Javelineer. Okay, so that was just a waste of a card, but I think I'm doing it because I want him to use his token, because my deck has 4 lines and 4 pixies, so I want to clear the way for if I draw more of those cards. Now that his Javelineer doesn't have the token, I can cast those and then use it as defenders. Okay, so he is casting a Order of Labor. He's taking a damage 18. He's time walking. So now he's the one that's doing the ancestral time walk. So I did it in game 1, I won. He's doing it in game 3. And so far, he's winning. Well, I guess we're pretty evenly paired right now. No. Actually, no. He is winning. Slightly, but he is. And now, and now he's totally winning. 17, he took a damage from the city and then 2 more from the... Yeah, so he should be at 15. But he kills my... So he side blasted my dip. So the coast is clear. He's attacking for 3. He was tapped out, or else he would attack with the factory as well. So I'm at 15. So this whole game, I've had a turn 1 dip, and then took me a couple turns to then get a Pixies, which he blew out with the Javelineer. So this third game, I'm not getting any threats. So second game was the land issue, my mana issue. My deck has more mana, so sometimes it's just going to happen no matter what. So that was more unlucky. This one, now the unlucky aspect comes from just me not getting threats. This whole game I've had just those 2 creatures that are in my graveyard right now. He hasn't had that much either, but at least his are still alive. I have no direct damage, so he's able to kill mine, and then I cannot really kill his, except like that. That's my only way. Sword. So he gained 2 life. He's still attacking for 3 more with the Javelineer and the factory. So I'm at 12. He follows up with a line and then passes. So next turn he can do 5 damage. So I get a land, and then I pass. So this is not looking good. So I have 4 lands. So my land base, at least in terms of that issue, that is fine this game. I'm just not playing creatures. The ones that I did have, he destroyed. And then I'm not getting a factory either. So it has a Black Lotus proxy. So I'm at 7. Whew, I pass. So if he has direct damage, he can kill me next turn. Activating 5 damage. I'm at 2. No direct damage, but so I drew that marks and I played it right. And then I had 2 blue elemental blasts and a land. So yeah, this is, so I concede because he's just gonna kill me next turn. All right, so I got game 1, and then he got games 2 and 3. So he ended up being first place, and I ended up being second place in this tournament. Now I'm gonna revisit my deck pick one more time to give my final thoughts, at least for this month's December's tournaments, how my deck did, and if I anticipate any future changes. So I did like the Mishra's Factories edition, and I do like the Suchi's edition. Adding 5 boxes, that's fine. So I think the amount of threats is still fine. That's going to happen if I have 2 draw spells between Ancestor and Brain Geyser, and then Time Walk is kind of like a draw spell. That game 3, I had 2 blue elemental blasts, but he didn't cast anything red, really. He killed me with white and Mishra's Factory. So for the main deck, I don't anticipate much changes. I do like how this deck is right now. One change, maybe I'm going to take out one Armageddon to put in the balance from the sideboard, put it in main deck. So I'm seriously considering that. I'm also been advised to put in a Mana Drain. And I'm thinking about taking 1 Plains out to accommodate that. So that kind of drops my land to only 21, but I still going to have all 5 boxes. So that should still hopefully not affect my mana base too badly, because games 1 and 3 and throughout the tournament, I was getting consistent land drops the first few turns. So I was happy with that change. That definitely made my deck more consistent. So I would say the main changes are going to be to the sideboard. So decks like the one I just faced are the ones that are giving me issues. So we need decks that can go fast, go wide. Although my deck can also do the same, but not to the same degree, right? Because I also have more higher casting cost creatures between the Dips, the Urnums, and the Ceros, as opposed to my opponent who just saw right now. I believe he had Dips as well, but most of his stuff was just 1 and 2 mana casting cost stuff. At least that I noticed during these 3 games. So I've been advised to put in to include in the sideboard and put in during against Counterburn or Winnie decks for Acacia and Javelineers. If you notice, his Javelineers did a lot of work against my Weenies. So I've been advised to add those as well. And I could maybe take out my 7 Alliance and put in those Javelineers instead, right? Or maybe just add those Javelineers in addition and then take out some other things. So that's one change. So I'm probably going to take out all my the healing salves may have to go. Also, instead of the healing salves, I've been advised another option could be giant growths, because healing salves are, by their nature, they are more of a defensive move, more of me reacting to my opponent, as opposed to a giant growth is more offensive, right? So my deck wants to be offensive, and things that take away from that is taking away from my game plan. So I've been told that that may be a better option that serves a very similar goal. So the healing salves, I definitely like them. So I can save my creature, and of course I can save myself by gaining life or preventing my damage to myself. So a giant growth cannot do that. It cannot boost my life, but it can still save my own creatures from being lightning bolt, things like that. Or during combat, I can surprise my opponent and pump up my creature. Or even better, it's my turn. My opponent lightning bolts my creature during my turn. I giant growth it, so I save my creature, and then I can still attack with it while it's gained the pump from the giant growth. So it can take out probably something else, or if it goes unblocked, he'll deal a lot of damage, right? So that's a very aggressive and proactive move, right? Instead of being always reactive and passive. So I like that option, and I'll be testing that out. But I do like it. And so yeah, I may take out the blue elemental blast, and between the blue elemental blast and the healing salves, I'll accommodate the 3-4 Javelineers and 2-3 giant growths. The karmas are still staying. The energy fluxes should probably still stay. I have an extra slot because the balance is now in the main deck. So I may just put that third Armageddon in the sideboard. I'm not sure. So I'm still considering things, but the main deck is pretty solid. I do like this deck. So as I make those changes, I will update, and I will hopefully record more games, and I'll let you guys know about the changes and so on. But for these 4 series of videos, thank you for watching. And thanks again to Days Time Warp for accommodating our old school community there.